Thought I'd take a minute here and show this new boiler install before I cover it all up with insulation. This is a whole new setup, hot water and heat for the house. It is a Lars Mascot. It's rated at 96% efficient. So besides being a very compact installation, there's one major difference that I've done compared to conventional. This drinking hot water tank is something I picked up at the Restore, and it had there were two of them available, so I bought them both. And the heat exchanger on one of them, or a heat exchanger on both of them, were fine, but there's a polyethylene liner inside of these tanks, and if you don't break the vacuum on this while you're draining it, you will implode that liner, and that's what happened when one of them was decommissioned. So I took the heat exchanger out of that other one, and I made basically a secondary heat exchanger out of it. So immediately from the city, it's galvanized here, the cold water comes down through a heat trap and into this heat exchanger that's surrounded by boiler water. So whenever the house is calling for heat, the water will come from the house return down this path, down to the bottom, up through this tank and into there. And whenever there's a DHW call, it will come down through the heat exchanger in here, back down and through here. And the goal with this is that since I'm bringing this cold 50 whatever degrees city water into this heat exchanger here, I'm creating the highest temperature differential going into the boiler, because your efficiency is proportional to the delta T that the boiler is creating. So in the wintertime, when this is constantly running, this is just stealing some heat from the house and bringing my efficiency higher, and I'm pretty much going to consider it free hot water at that point. So in order to implement this, I decided to go, this is the main inlet to the whole hot water system, the drinking hot water system, and the outlet goes down into the tank, unrestricted, or up to the top here, and into a set of two thermostatic valves. So the reason I used two valves was, if the temperature of the tank is higher than the valve is calling for, then is going to take whatever heat is available from here first and dilute the hot water here and use very little from the tank, and then is going to cool it down even further with this secondary thermostatic valve before the main hot water to the house leaves. And if the case is that this tank temperature is below the set point of this thermostatic valve, therefore it's going to be wide open to just the hot water, then I'll still get heat recovery, but it will come from the bottom to the bottom of this tank, and I'll still have that huge temperature differential. So no matter what, I'll have as efficient of a system as I can get. The heat exchanger tank I made was just a piece of, I think it was 7-inch OD, something the local shop had. And then I just welded a plate on the top and bottom, cut a hole in the top, and then on the bottom I welded just a T, and that's where it comes in from the house on this side and from the hot water return on that side. Main drain for the whole boiler system is here, and I decided to go couplings all the way around here, or unions, so I can break this thing down. As compact as this is, I don't want to ever have to deal with not being able to take everything out. So this whole copper system breaks out here, 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 and here. And then the whole copper feed and domestic hot water breaks out. And the same thing with the boiler return, or this is actually the hot water out to the system. So, I mean to the house. That comes up this way through a super vent regulator, backflow preventer, which is leaking, so I gotta get a new one. and then a main shutoff valve. And I decided to put the expansion tank on the side over here just to give me as much room as I can. And I put a check valve here too. I figured that's the easiest way to just stop it. They're cheap enough on eBay to stop the heat during the summertime from being transferred up into the house, which it works remarkable. I mean, this side will be boiler temperature, and this side will be still plenty cold. Only thing I had to do on this heat exchanger tank, or this heat exchanger itself, was I drilled and tapped for a. I only had a drill bit size that would work for 1 1/4 inch, so I just threw a bushing in there and reduced it down again with a union there. And then the whole connection is essentially conventional. But yeah, I'm gonna wrap it all in insulation now. I think I'm gonna throw a couple wraps around the tank and all. I mean, I could feel that it's slightly elevated temperature when it's hot, but also the venting. The venting, they wanted like $500 something for a coaxial kit that comes all the way up and out. So I just made it out of PVC stuff that I could find at the restore. Just a T, bushing. I bored this bushing out, and I also have another T on the outside there. So I bored that bushing out on the inside and on the outside. So I have one solid length of 2-inch going all the way out for the exhaust, which is all solvent welded together. I have the exhaust pitched down towards the boiler, and then I have the intake air pitched away from the boiler, and like this connection I just left pressed in there, so if any water does condense in here for some reason or come in from the rainwater, it'll just drip out here. I've had some pretty good rainstorms and nothing's come out of there yet, but safe and sorry. Condensate, I need to put a little pump in there, but for now there's just a little tank with a little siphon or trap set up, but otherwise it's so far working very well. Oh, and threw a expansion tank in here for the city water too, and I just had a valve laying around, or gauge laying around, so what the hell.